Go to Hawaii. Are you doing any editing?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
This show is heavily edited.
Yeah.
Rhyme or free, it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad poetry. Good day, and welcome to My Bad Poetry, a podcast where we take a deep dive into our poems from youth, yesteryear, or even yesterday, always asking the question, why in the world did I write this? I'm Aaron.
And I'm Dave.
And today we are joined by a poet who, according to one interview by Fevers of the Mind, has been writing since well before preschool with perhaps a less than ideal medium. A prolific writer who has pumped out 6 poetry books since 2022, her last one dealing with the age-old debate, why chicken explodes in the microwave. Nolcha Fox, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
That might be my favorite question in the world.
And it does explode.
Are we talking like a whole chicken or just a chicken breast or a thigh?
Anything chicken that I can fit in the microwave, I can explode.
Okay.
Now, do you want to venture a guess as to why that does happen?
It hates me. I think it's
okay. A vengeful chicken.
So cruel.
Well, Nolcha, is there anything in the intro there that we might have missed that you want our dear listeners to know about you before we get into the show?
Sure. The first thing is that I just became editor for Chewers and Masticadoras. And it's actually from a family of digital literary magazines, and they're published in 10 countries and 6 languages, and I was probably an idiot to do it.
That sounds like fun to me, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then I see that here you're also an editor for an open arts forum. Do you want to say a bit more about that?
Yeah, I've actually been a member of Open Arts Forum for, I don't know, a year and a half or so. I became an editor a little less than a year ago. And basically, the whole idea of Open Arts Forum is it's a whole community of creative people. And we all share our work with each other, whether it's art or, short fiction, poetry, all sorts of things. And we do it to entertain ourselves. We do it so that we can get feedback to improve what we've done.
Sure.
Very cool.
If a member features a piece, then my job as editor is to go through all the featured pieces and decide what I want to publish to the front page where everybody in the public can see it, because Open Arts Forum is actually private until we publish something.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a big role you have.
Right. Big responsibility.
Yeah. I to pick one for the front page seems like a lot of pressure, but
no. Really easy. No, actually, I just look at the comments people have made and decide, if it really warrants, being shown to the world. So it's actually it's a lot of fun, and it doesn't take much time. So I shouldn't say that.
I feel like having the comments of other people, you can kind of bounce it off of. Why do people care about this? Why does this strike a chord? Does it need to be rethought to strike a bigger chord? Or that really gives you a lot of opportunities to see art flourish.
And it actually makes it easier because I'm not the only one making the decision.
Right.
Whereas for Chewers and Masticadoras, it's me.
Ah. That does sound a little more intimidating.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of intimidating, you also have fallen into the role of an interviewer?
Yes.
How?
So I've done probably 25 or more interviews, and I've interviewed authors, literary magazine editors, independent bookstore owners. Sometimes an editor of a literary magazine will ask me to actually interview somebody, which they have no idea what they're getting into. And my author interviews, they usually include book reviews. And I know that when I first started publishing books, I was totally lost at sea. I didn't know how to get it published. And as I learned more, it was hard to find people who would interview me, who would review my books. And so I thought, well, I might as well do that, right? I might as well help other people. So, yeah, I've had my interviews have been published on, and I can never say this correctly because I can't speak French to save my soul. But it's
we always get it wrong too. Don't worry.
So I'll just say Roy.
Yeah.
The Gorkha Gazette and Mascadores, India.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, to get us into the realm of poetry today, I think Dave has prepared for us a hastily written poem that he'll read. And so take it away, Dave.
Okay. So for a little bit of context, my son decided what I was going to write about today. So that was very helpful of him. He gave me the correct parameters. So this is a limerick of taste. What do sharks look for in a meal? Anything with the shape of a seal? With a sense of flavor, what do they savor? This question's a joke, but now it's real. It's so weird. I just found out today. Did you guys know that sharks have tongues and taste buds?
No.
No.
I didn't imagine that they would taste very much. They have taste buds.
Wow.
So now I really wonder, like, what can they taste? Are they looking for appropriate levels of umami and cilantro? I don't know.
Or wetsuits.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. So your son said, now, was it talk about sharks and you researched and found the tongue fact, or?
He said, what do sharks eat? And that's what the poem should be about. So I thought, okay, I guess that's what we're doing.
Well, bravo for finding that spark of inspiration there. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Dave, for bringing us into the realm of poetry. But now it's time to get into the bad poetry.
Mm.
So, Nolcha, you have given us a couple here to share on the show, and I'm just wondering, which one would you like to start us out with?
Well, we can start with the really bad one. The really, really bad one. We can start with the embarrassing one, or we can start with the stupid one. Which one?
Oh, okay. Okay. So we got really bad, embarrassing, and stupid. Let's go with the really bad, just to stick with the name of the show to kick us off. The really bad poem.
Okay, well, first I have to preface this, that I don't submit my really, really, really bad poetry. I actually have a keep or kill file.
Okay.
And the stuff that might be redeemable, I actually collaborate separately with two other poets. And sometimes I'll pull stuff out of there to start a collaboration. But this one, God, I don't think it would. It's just really bad, but it's funny. It's so bad.
That's what we love.
It's really
that's exactly what we need.
Yes.
So you can let me know if it's good or garbage.
Yes, we will gladly do that. So am I reading correct? Is this Married and Buried?
Yep.
Okay. So why don't you read the poem for us, and then we'll dive in from there.
Okay. He believed when they were wed that death could only part. When he found she couldn't cook, he shot her in the heart. After he got out of prison, he wrote Gab for a paper, but his mind was not on work. He had another caper. A tell-all book would get revenge. He closed the office door and wrote about his jail time instead of car crash gore. But love was calling him again. He married the paper's owner. She thought he was the shining star when he was just a loafer. She found his book, deleted it. He stroked. She turned him into ash. She emptied out his funeral urn to hold her petty cash. I told you it was really bad.
That is so aggressive. I love it.
This is incredible. You tell a whole life story here.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask, what context brought this about?
Autobiographical.
No, actually, one of the Alien Buddha zines was about work.
Okay.
So we all had to submit poetry. So this was actually the first one I came up with. And I have to tell you, Red accepted it. And then he contacted me back and said, I can't take this.
Had second thoughts.
He said, I didn't read this carefully.
That's amazing. So you're bringing to us once accepted, then entirely rejected. Almost like this poor wife in the first stanza. Accepted at wedding, and then when she couldn't cook, gone. This is
So what can you say about it?
Oh,
I am fascinated by the simplicity of it, because all of my poetry is either limerick or just terrible poetry. So I enjoy the simplicity of it. And I like a good story. And this is kind of fun. Like, he gets his comeuppance. I can appreciate that.
So you think it's worth submitting somewhere else again?
I am not the person to ask that question.
But I mean, you wouldn't kill it.
no, there's something. I mean, it's very dark humor, and there's definitely a place for that. It'd have to be a specific prompt, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just. Do you remember like what mood you were in when you wrote this? Was this like you were giggling as you wrote it, or you're like, oh, I'm.
Good.
So let's do this.
Now I'm curious as to the construction of it. Did this flow naturally, like from one stanza to the other, or did you have the kind of the fun? I say fun, but the fun little thing about like the urn being for petty cash, was that the image that spurred this? And you worked backwards. Do you remember any of that?
Actually, what really started it was in a previous life, I was a technical writer and wrote software manuals and things that probably nobody would ever read.
Wow.
I did have a help desk, but there were some writers working for the company who there were two different companies, and they would go and write books instead of writing manuals. They would write their own stuff, and nobody knew.
Huh.
Like on company time, they would just write little fluff pieces and stuff.
No, well, I mean, one was writing it. I think they were both writing novels. I think.
Oh wow!
Yeah. No, they were busy typing away. We were all typing away, and they were going, "Oh, they must be working."
Sure.
So yeah, that's kind of what was really the underneath, and it actually wrote itself. So there was probably some evil little dead poet who wrote it for me, I think.
Possessed for a time.
Right.
No.
Wow. Okay.
I just can't get past, like, the rhyme and meter of it feels like a roses are red, violets are blue kind of thing, but in it there's 2 murders. I can't get past that.
No, okay, now I'm not reading his death as a murder. Where are you getting that, Dave?
Well, I guess she found his book, deleted it. He stroked, she turned him into ash. So I guess she didn't try to kill him.
But
maybe.
But she did. Yeah. Okay. So it was her act of deleting his life's work here that caused his stroke.
Yeah, it's like he lost his life with that book.
Wow. Okay.
And I actually
that's just terrible.
Well, I think it's great, but I mean,
Yes.
which will probably what will never get published. But I usually don't write in rhyme. I usually write pre-verse.
We've heard a lot of disturbing poetry, like with like some deep dark themes, but I think my favorite is still that image of emptying out an urn, just like walking out your back door and like just dumping some human remains on your garden and putting in some singles. Like that is a terrifying image, but it's got like that Edgar Allan Poe kind of twist to it. That's just good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's not quite bad poetry, it's just evil poetry.
Bad in a different sense.
Yeah. Maniacal, whatever you want to call it.
The thing in the middle there, before he got his comeuppance, the tell-all book would get revenge. It seems very much, I thought it was going in a direction of like, all media is good media, all attention is good attention. And so how people who are just truly, they make awful decisions with their life and then they profit off of it. And it's like you're building this character up to be one of those people who like publish their tell-all story, like if I did kill her type, like there is some real life parallels here. But the fact that he dies before it even hits the page it's a nice twist.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, thank you. And I have to go to one that isn't quite as good, right?
Yes. Let's hear.
Oh, sure.
Let's hear another one. So you have the silly stupid, or the embarrassing. Which one would you like to lead us to now?
Well, why don't we do silly stupid because it's fast.
Love it.
Stupid. So I actually got my sense of humor from my father, which is really unfortunate for the rest of my family. Anyway, this was actually published and it's called Thought is a Caterpillar, Wiggling Down the Spine, Making a Left into the Mouth, and Fluttering Out as a Word Butterfly. Sometimes it turns too soon and slides down the nose. Then it's just snot. I told you it was stupid.
Oh,
I would love it.
I do love this poem. This is phenomenal. I have long said I don't understand poetry because some of it is like, the big fancy Shakespeare, and some of it is there once was a man from Nantucket. And this is A+ work.
Yeah, it was supposed to be really deep, what how do we deal with our thoughts, right? Well, apparently I missed it.
Yeah, it's making this lovely image of like how the mind crafts the words and then it comes out in a beautiful way, like a butterfly, and then it's like just sometimes it's not. What's really funny is like, I don't know if it's just us in our family, but like those snot boogers that are kind of congealed, we call those slugs in our house. We have that image. It's not a caterpillar, but a slug.
Oh gosh.
Wow. So you said this one was published.
Yes. I'd have to go and look where it was, but it was actually seriously.
That's amazing. Again, it kind of shows that like for everything there is a season. For every word there is a magazine or a publisher that will find its meaning.
Well, I wouldn't say for every word, because some of them come out like butterflies, and other ones are just snot dribbling out. Right?
Yes, we've learned that today.
I'm thinking it through.
We could carry this wisdom with us rather than good or garbage. We could call it butterfly or snot.
Oh, I will say, this brought up a very strange image for me, because I used to be very obsessed with ancient Egyptian society,
Mhm.
and so the mummification process in which they take part of the brain out through the nose.
Oh, yeah. Ouch.
I I think there's almost something there in, like, your brain is creating, like, it's this beautiful cocoon for this butterfly to blossom forth from, but also when you're dead it just dribbles out.
It's true.
Oh,
Just
that
stick
is
that crochet needle up there, spin it around, and put it in an urn.
oh, don't put it in an urn. Somebody's going to
Somebody-
empty it out for their petty cash. Now, I've got a very dumb question, but as someone who struggles with word selection,
Mhm.
so wiggling down the spine, making a left into the mouth, why left rather than right? I know that's like a ridiculously weird question, but
Because I'm left-handed.
Yes!
there we go.
Yes, lefties unite. our sinister ways.
Yeah. Stinking left-handed caterpillars.
Yeah, you see, Dave, that just showed your propensity for rightness.
Oh, you mean correctness?
No, yeah, I did that. That didn't even cross my mind when I said making a left into the mouth. I was just like, "Yep, totally makes sense."
Sure. No, but I find that funny because I feel like those little choices sometimes bear a lot of weight, and sometimes it's just a means to an end. Like, no, the caterpillar's got to get to the mouth somehow, so it's going to take one direction over the other.
You work in like the caterpillar's movements. You got wiggling and fluttering, but then when it turns into snot, like is this image like when a caterpillar doesn't completely like make it through the chrysalis process?
I have to admit that I didn't think it through that. It was just, what comes out of your nose, right?
Yeah. I only think that is because a neighbor has given us a monarch caterpillar that we are trying to raise upstairs. So this is very present in my mind. And this is our second one because the first one died. And but I mean, apparently the life for a caterpillar out in the real world, the survival rate's like 10% or something. So but the first one died, and we think it's because we moved it to a new leaf too early. In its molting stage, because it has to create kind of this little silk or slime to get out of its skin. And if you move it too early when it's in the midst of molting, you remove it from that prep work and it gets kind of stuck in its skin.
Oh.
So when you that second stanza takes that turn, it's just like it slides out the nose as it's snot. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, that caterpillar just moved too soon.
Yeah, it's so.
Oh.
Well, that's one of the beautiful scientific processes. I have a friend who, she's an entomologist, so she studies insects. And that's one of the most fascinating things she's ever told me about is like how they form the chrysalis and liquefy, and then like their heart moves to a different part of their body and their brain moves to a different part of their body, and it's just, I don't know how it happens. So yeah, the sliding snot really works as a metaphor for that. I think that's pretty accurate. I'll have to bring that to her and see if she agrees.
Yeah. Well, this definitely is quite a silly poem. I love it.
It's very fun.
So we've heard the cringe, we've heard the silly.
Mm-hmm.
Now you need to be embarrassed.
Now I need, yes, and I'm embarrassed for probably a really weird reason.
Okay.
Okay.
I grew up in a family where we never talked about anything about the body.
Mhm.
It made it really difficult when I wanted to get a family history on medical issues because nobody ever talked about it.
Right.
It took a lot of digging. So then I decided to write about a womb, and I was going, oops. So I think this is a good poem, but it's embarrassing to me. Like I said, for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I love this angle. Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so it's called Gently Used. It was actually published a couple of days ago.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Well,
congrats.
congrats! Yes.
So I got embarrassed recently.
Perfect. Well, we will just plan on continuing to embarrass you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, I dropped my womb off at Goodwill, but they refused to take it. Although it was gently used, they said it was an oddity that nobody would buy. I told them it had served me well and could be used by others. It could be a counter box to store some day-old bread, or gifted as a goblet, or hold the ashes of somebody's dear old dead friend Jed. They nodded, said it could indeed serve many other uses. They gave me a donation slip and gently used a broom to push me out the door before I gave them something else I'd used they'd never seen before.
Wow.
Snaps.
This is so fundamentally strange, and it's wonderful in that way.
Well, it's logical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that you have brought these three poems, because you really did bring one that's like, it's that kind of just like odd in a weird kind of dark twisted way that's like, it needs just a specific atmosphere to click. And then the caterpillar is funny. And this one, I mean, it's published, it's good. But in your eyes, you see it as bad and you bring it to the show as embarrassing because of like the topic and the subject matter. And just, I love that because it shows just the ways in which a very specific thing or a very kind of unique perspective of ours can influence the way in which we read our own writing.
Mm.
So what inspired this one? Was there a prompt or?
In my Thursday night poets group, there's a woman who she likes to write a lot of womb poems. And I thought, wow, that would be fun. And I thought that it would be fun before I thought, oh, I might publish this.
So I love that there's kind of a genre around womb poetry. I feel that's that kind of ownership of the female body is, I wouldn't say it's a new thing, but it's something that's being embraced in kind of modern feminist movements of like reclaiming the female body as your own, as your person, to have that be your inspiration. I mean, it makes it it's a cool subject, I'll say. I mean, it's just something we don't hear enough about, I think.
Of course, I'm donating mine.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
but it's your body.
Yeah. No, I am just so struck by the other uses. Because, like, Aaron, you were saying a modern-ish kind of poem, but also, like, the original story of Pandora's box. She doesn't have a box with her that she opens. She has a hudria, a water vessel, which is also connected to the Greek word for womb. So there's that connection there. And so a hudria can be used to store water, or the other common use was grain, day-old bread. And then I love it, like the image of the chalice, which is a representation, like a chalice versus a blade in symbology, can be used to describe the female form. And then also holding the ashes of your dead friend Jed, what is left in Pandora's box is life and death. So, like, I don't know if that was a part of that, but
Great.
You are bringing a lot of meaning without knowing. You're bringing a lot of meaning in this. I am fascinated by that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Count on Dave for bringing it back to the Greek.
Yeah. I'm here to be a nerd and to bring it to stuff that people don't care about, but I do. I think it's wonderful.
No, I think it's great that you see that, because it's certainly, I didn't think of it, but as I'm looking at all three poems and I'm realizing, I'm going into the, holding the ashes again.
Yeah,
I noticed that
again.
too.
Yeah.
At least you didn't say your womb could be used for petty cash.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Now you say that you don't tend to use rhymes, and from your new work, why chicken explode in the microwave. I mean, that's true. You do a lot of really fun things, and you can find that humor and that kind of lightheartedness, dealing with darker issues as well, around like anxiety and chaos and stuff. But you've brought us two here that have at least kind of a soft rhyme pattern, if not just a straight up rhyme. So, is this something that you're experimenting with more often nowadays, or are you just more embarrassed by rhyming poems?
Well, I like using internal rhymes.
Yeah.
And I like using alliteration, because I think it's just way more fun to read.
Yeah.
But this isn't an outright rhyme like the first one was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, dear old dead friend Jed. I mean, I'm surprised I was able to say that.
I love that line because it has the alliteration, it has the assonance. It's a fun line.
Yeah.
Hat in the hat.
Yeah, it's very. Oh.
Well, and with that rhyme and the assonance in there, it's a nice pivot into from the other perspective of their now responding to you. Yeah.
Yeah. They nodded and said, oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
And then they gently used a broom.
Yeah. I'm just imagining, like a minimum wage employee opening the door at a Goodwill, and someone walks in and, here's my womb. What? Huh? Like the discomfort that would bring, but yeah.
And I imagine that
is great.
Yeah, I imagine that broom being kind of like a 10-foot pole. Like, okay, now you can go now, Shoo. I am curious, and feel free to shoot this line of questioning down, but why donating the womb? I mean, I talked about how, like, womb poetry tends to be, like, ownership of the female body. And like you pointed out, yours is like, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yep. I guess I tend to twist things.
Okay.
And, people want to own them. For me, it's also about, I know you're going to laugh at this, but I don't like keeping stuff that I can't use.
Oh,
okay.
And so I tend to donate things often. As I was going, why not a will?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're at an age. No, it's not.
Huh?
I don't need it anymore.
Maybe someone else can use it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now I have inspiration for my next poem for next week. I have 2 kidneys. I only need 1, so maybe I should. I'll join you at the Goodwill next time.
This will just be a series.
Well, I suspect that somebody would like to use your kidney more than someone would like to use mine.
Well, this has been a journey. You brought us on. This has been a journey. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the writing style or the what informs you to put something into the kill or keep file? Is there where do you find that balance?
Well, originally most of my poetry was going into the kill or keep file.
Okay.
I told people that my backyard was basically a graveyard of dead poems.
Okay.
But I think I've over the time I've learned to become a little bit more discriminating.
Okay.
I do find that there are poems. I was actually going to bring a poem that it was a response to the prompt "chip off the old block," and I was going to share that, but because after I wrote it and it was published, I looked at it and I thought that just really sucks. But, then I looked at it again. I said, it's not awful.
Okay.
But I thought that these three would be much better to talk about.
Yeah.
But, so keep or kill. Sometimes I start with a thought that I can't make it go anywhere. It, it's sort of like a dead turkey. And I just got, and okay, so the way I write very quickly. It typically takes me 5 to 10 minutes to write a poem.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I move on to something else. I would say maybe 20% of my poems I'll go back and edit. And the rest, I write them, they go out.
Wow. So, it's just like throwing darts at a dartboard and you pick out the ones you want and a bit of a quantity over quality, and then you pick out what quality shows up?
Well, typically before I'm going to submit something, I just read it again and think, I decide whether it's really a dud. I should really rethink that. Or I just send it. And I've had a pretty high publication rate. So maybe people think, I don't know, maybe they read them as quickly as I do. So, but my keep and kill file also there's some that I've just not been able to get published. And I look at them, a month or two later and I say, okay, I know why that really sucked.
I kind of love that daringness of just like, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there and see what sticks.
Yeah.
It's how you got that like alien Buddha acceptance, and then like Red reads it back and goes, you know what? It's like,
maybe not.
You almost slipped it through. Almost got it there. That's incredible.
I really respect the confidence of that, because everything that I write or am like giving a speech or any sermon or whatever, I have to really like work through, and I need to multiple times edit through, and even still I'm still terrified that it's just gonna suck and people are gonna hate it. But like the ability to just say, no, I think that this can be something. I think that this can inspire. I think that this can be art. That is powerful. I wish I had a third of your confidence. That's awesome.
Or it's just stupidity.
Sometimes you can't tell the difference between the two, and that's okay.
And I have to tell you, part of it is learning which literary magazines are really good homes for my style.
Sure.
And there's some I will never, ever get into, ever.
Just keep submitting to Rofwin Wawawa, and yeah.
Or the Dorco Gazette, or...
Yeah.
He's really great, by the way.
Nice.
I have to say, I love that, like, caterpillars, butterflies, flower imagery. This isn't the first time or the only time that that's shown up. Even in your work, you had the butterfly net imagery that comes in the poem "Tricky," that from Why Chicken Explodes in the Microwave. And then I just have to point out, poem "Memories" ends with snapdragons. And that's my favorite flower. So I love that. Yeah, I love that you had that there. But with that, I think we're coming to a close, much like a snapdragon flower when you stop squeezing it.
Aaron.
I'm sorry. I had to follow that. If that was snot, I apologize.
That is going to come up so often now. I love it.
This is going to stick.
Oh, in the wrong way.
But we here at My Bad Poetry, we like to end with some butterflies. And so we like to end each week with the words of a true poet. So before we let you go, Nolcha, would you be willing to read for us another poem from your collection, one that you are proud of?
Well, I would like to read, this one I actually like. It's one of my favorites, at least until I write another one I like better. This is from my book, How to Get Me Up in the Morning. And this one just always makes me smile. And it's called Directions. We discuss directions. We argue with our navigation system. We call her Rhonda. He wants to take the shorter route, which takes longer, of course. Not the course I would choose. The roads are slick, the tires skid from side to side. I want to take the longer route, which takes less time. The roads are cleared of snow and ice. Rhonda wants to take the interstate, which takes us 5 miles out of the way. Rhonda doesn't care about time or mileage. She just likes to drive fast.
I love it.
Yeah.
This resonates so much in that anytime we have a voice direction in the car, we call her Blanche.
Blanche.
So we'll be like, thanks, Blanche. Or, you got that wrong, Blanche.
We're not going that way.
Yes.
I think Rhonda might be better because then you can give her a last name of Rections.
Oh.
Ron Directions. That's a decent pun right there. That's a decent pun.
That was good.
This has been My Bad Poetry.
Now go write some of your own bad poetry.
There, I have 3 takes. I could just...
Oh, gosh.
I want to stop you.
Or I'll just replace it with nacho beans.
Nacho
And that
beans.
works too.
Rhyme free doesn't matter.